okay with that, oh, so I win. That's okay with. So okay with, yeah, we're okay with.
It's getting mate.
She put it up with you. Yeah, boy, no, not do. Yeah, we are going to put it up on the bazaar. So okay with that, so I win. Just give me away. These are boys, get away. You can look, get away. Yes, you. This one is the biggest. So get away down, so get away. They don't know why I don't know what I am. Capa me va a caber son cielo. Ahora soy Kabali Buamana to Kabali Buamamo, you can only that one. I don't away. Now I don't know my Telecano. I don't know my I don't know my so they went down, so they went. Oh, they were at the West. Manta went to Yebokoye. CI. Let them point on my tail. They are Yebokoye, who have a mother. They put a Yamadi at their weapons to do a total team again. I also they will. Shop makeup. Time wait, time down away. You go people, you go with a woman. You go people, you go with a woman. Damu. Papa told you the way, the way, pigeon the way. I want the old man way. What are you? Mother, what are you? Nagayona no magawi. Kaya mabo pima na babo. Naga kwipera tan kapie. Kani wakana no we asiwa. Gire okoni. CI. Za. Ete. Samia wo ba ji, you don't need a president. Kwipema. My brother, my boss, darling, I saw that I'm not. That's a fun. What do you want to wait? What I do, I come. Mama, Jaga, we.
Lady Records, sweet sound.
I come to tell Mama, ya no see, no way I can make that. Me can no gayen gabo. Now when I don't yam, now when I don't yam, and now when I don't yam, me can no go mama go. Now when I don't yam, put no mama, but no come out of the beer. I got one boy, I got grab it. Now when I don't yam, now when I don't yam, what I must say, yo. What I must say, Tado, we have a bad name. What I must say, Pendo, we have a bad mama. Make a day, no, don't yam. na une don yam nika kwa kwen wo ya dwango be na une don yam kwai kata kwen si ya dwango be mama na une don tabone na une don yam e wara masayo zole ta mwa kwa kapa pabo yego pepe yego dole pora dia da kuzora yego mabone bibia zole yego pepe woma I don't come out to hear you mune e me kana don't come out woman I don't mama to you
Well, folks, good evening and welcome to today's edition of the Riverside Talk. It is a very pleasant day again. I want to say thank you to all of you watching us and thanks to our followers here in studio. Thank you for following us on a daily basis. We appreciate your time spent with us. Today we got a lot to talk about. There are a lot happening in Liberia, and we will be speaking on those issues. Very cardinal issue that is happening in our community and Liberia at large. We will be talking about them, and some of the things we'll be talking about is the over 600 million worth of drugs that was bolstered by the Joint Security of Liberia. That includes the LDA, Liberia National Police, and other security apparatus that apprehended the drugs that was packaged to be shipped out of Liberia. And on top of that, former Finance Minister Samuel Toward is back in court. And the 15-man juror has also been ordered arrested. Some have been arrested already and put behind bars. And the verdict that claims Samuel Tua is not guilty has been recalled. The judge said that verdict will not stand. We hope to see that other political, that other case. We hope to see how it goes. And also, former Chief of Protocol, Madam Finanora Bono, willingly turned herself into the Monrovia Central Prison. We will also dive into that tonight. And so many things happening in Liberia. We'll talk about it. And so, once again, welcome. Welcome to all of you. I see you. You may be aware. Sometime back, there was a case involving the former finance minister. And if I'm not mistaken, that was either late May or June. The verdict was given. And Tor was found not guilty, but his subordinates were found liable of the act. Now, after the verdict was given, about a week, a news circulated that there was tampering with the juror. So that case went back. And as of today in Liberia, the criminal proceeding judge has also recalled. So that means, and also he ordered the arrest of the 15 juror that decided the fate of Samuel Toy. He ordered the arrest on the ground that they were tampered with. And some were being arrested today, taken to jail. A lady was seen on video saying she put her oil into Liberia. And she worked for Liberia, and they were taking her to jail. Now, that case has taken a dramatic turn because I think some time back, I spoke on an issue here saying, to me, if you look at that case technically, my concern into that case was how will a subordinate be held liable and a boss man is not held liable? I said it when the verdict came about. And some other folks in the media landscape also spoke about it. There were mixed reactions to the verdict that was given when Tua was pronounced not guilty. There was mixed reaction onto that. And questions surrounding the independency of the juror came about. And that didn't take long before we started getting some information that the juror was tampered with. Only 3 or so that actually did not, in fact, I say only a few that did not, correspond to what were offered them. But the majority of them were tampered with. And that's how the not guilty verdict came upon Samuel Tua. Now, when the judge decided today that the 15 juror should go to jail, should be arrested, and that the verdict that says Stewart was not guilty will not stand, his lawyer, Counselor Arthur Johnson, the humble bookman of Liberia, he made a statement and said it has never happened before in the history of Liberia in the legal proceeding where a verdict will be given and that verdict will be recalled. It has never happened, and it's the first of its kind. And obviously, while the same story we've been hearing that Tua case is political, it had political undertone. Tua is just been targeted and all of that. So all those things came into play. And as it stands, that is what has been, paraded across Liberia, in the court of Liberia and so forth. But the case is I honestly don't know what to say, because other men that were involved, if you say Tua is not guilty, but Kamo, who is an honor man, is guilty. And at the time, Kamo was not even in Liberia. Kamo was right here in America when our transaction went on. But then Kamo became liable. And the me, Ogakpada, sitting in the seat that gave his instruction, the quote-unquote intellectual bulldozer of the CDC psychometry, who gave the instruction saying the man not guilty and he not dead. But somebody who is the underman who was not even in the country at the time was held liable. I think that was injustice. Justice was not served in that manner to exclude. They say, why you made those commander responsible? But in this case, commander was not responsible. The unit where the one held liable and commander was left out of the picture. So now they are back to square one. Let's see how the argument goes. And all the legal, this is where now we're about to see all the legal luminaries, all the legal practitioners. Maybe my friend and brother, the quote-unquote Uncle Bookman, Will Bowman, maybe that's the time I will come and see you, come and get a legal argument. But I mean, say he the only bookman in district number 4. Besides him, nobody educated in district number 4. So we're about to see all the legal terms. Consider Garrison Yedu. Other men, we're coming as on that. The merit, the legality of this new chapter of Samuel 12 saga. We come here ask you to tell us now. All my trial legal luminaries now. I come here ask you one by one. Councilor Yeru, you practicing lawyer, you are practicing Anthony in Liberia. We will ask you. And then the trial exile book member will ask him to give his own opinion. Because the man say he the only person that know book. Nobody in trial know book. I'll ask my man. But on a serious note, this is an issue that, you know, when one sit and think, the question surrounding the independence of our judicial system and the people that are trusted to do their job without fear and favor. It sometimes bothers me as to whether those people are actually, you know, doing what they are or what is required to do. Because if you look at it technically, right? If you look at the whole issue technically, the idea that people were temporary. You know, they say there is no, from the onset, the case has been, oh, it's a witch hunt, it's a witch hunt, it's a political witch hunt, and this and that. That has been the case all through from the from our men across the Sacrament tree. The men say the case that political case. Welcome to the show, Mr. Franklin Miaman. How is Liberia today, brother?
Yeah, thank you so much. I'm here.
Welcome. So you just come in, like I said, we'll be talking today on a couple of issues that has to do with the happening in Liberia. The happening in Liberia and that of the over $600 million drugs that were busted today in Liberia. The issue of former finance minister Samuel Tuah is back in court. And also the chief of protocol, the former chief of protocol to President George Manawia, Madam Finanora Bondo, willingly turn herself in today at the Monrovia Central Prison. So these are the talking point here today, but I started with the issue of Honorable Tuah. Let's hear you, brother. What do you make of it? Because as they stand, the 15 jurors that were involved into that, George has ordered their arrest. Some have been arrested. There's a video of a lady claiming she worked for Liberia. She gave her all to Liberia, but then this is how Liberia is treating her. And the verdict that says Tuah is not guilty. That verdict, as it stands now, it will not hold. So we had it right back to court. What do you make of it, brother? Oh boy, Liberian network. Sometimes they think and ready piss people off sometimes. When will we graduate from this Wi-Fi connectivity thing in Liberia? When? If we're not current, Wi-Fi. If we're not current, internet. When? Maybe right? It's actually, that case is actually something that we are to actually look at, and we hope to see how it's going to proceed. Because on a very serious note, I sometimes sit and wonder as to whether our judiciary system is actually free and fair. Because when that verdict was given at first, I was one of those that was very skeptical about it, about the result. Because if something goes wrong under your care, if something goes wrong under your care, and then you come here to say, okay, this thing, though he was in charge, but it is not him, the owner man is the one responsible. Who gave authority to the owner man? Who actually, have this whole thing of the owner man? Who? So we went to see the legal arguments that surround this. We will be trying to get some legal experts to talk to us about the legality of these things, the legality of this new case, and let's see how it goes. Franklin, welcome back. Let's hear you. Can you hear me? Franklin, can you hear me on mute?
Yeah, I knew I knew the network is still giving hard time. That's why I muted myself. I went off and came back. Okay. Are you getting me?
Yes.
So okay, as you were saying, today in Liberia, it's very much historic, and people have even considered it to be National Jail Day in the country. Seriously, that has been a joke all over on Facebook. They are calling it National Jail Day. However, we pray that many of these things that are happening will continue to happen in good faith, and it will not be political witch hunt, and people will not also consider it to be something that they are targeting them, but they should know that they are holding them accountable for their doing. I actually fell for Nora Findabondo today, the former chief of protocol and the former deputy minister of administration at the Ministry of State. So, looking at her situation, we are all humans. While it is true that she was in the ruling party at the time, sharing money all around, and people were complaining, today I feel for her because she was like crying, and people started telling her, why is she using to God be the glory? She said that today she knows God, and I was telling them that you guys should not be making these comments. People can come to the knowledge of God, or something can make you to be, and something can make you to get something to know God, or something can move you. Maybe this is her time for her to acknowledge the goodness of God in her life, because she is in a difficult situation. So that's what I was telling other people today. And looking at the former finance minister, he said that he will not submit to any Supreme Court case again. So I started to wonder what mean will he use, and he's talking about political resistance. And you could see that CDC is also there saying that they will resist anything that will come from the Supreme Court. So I started to wonder by what means, because we are not prepared again to go to violence. People don't want to lay down their life for politicians. This time is time that we want to rebuild Liberia. Even the Samuel Stewart himself, I know he got invested in Liberia, and he would not like any destruction to go on, that his investment will be able to be jeopardized. He will want to maintain something that tomorrow other people will learn from. So the peace we are enjoying, it is good that we maintain that. And on the issue of drugs you talk about, I think we should commend the national security for a job well
Hold on,
done.
hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on. One at a time. We'll get to, we'll get to that drugs issue. We're taking it step by step. Now,
Okay.
you raised a point here with the issue of FINA, right? You know, I think people are getting to realize that power has a limit. And it started from last weekend when she did a burial of her father. And you saw that the video that circulated, she was giving praises to God and that of Thomas Fala. So, and she said, when every other person let me down, you stood by me, regardless of politics. You said that my own. And that one took the entire social media space for a couple of days. For me, I am beginning to see now that people are getting to, get the actual picture. That not all that is, you see glittering with gold is actually rose. Her case, her indictment from asset recovery all the way. This is another case that have also dragged along for a period of time now. Now, she's been into that. Her bond has expired, so she willingly took herself to jail today. She went there before her lawyers and D. Maxwell Kimiyak could even come along. She was there. And you could see that I think, we should learn something from here. If people have their opinion, whatever they want to say about, nobody is the same. Whatever she did, at this point, she's beginning to realize. And that is to say, whatever you do, you got to answer to your own call. This is the CDC that almost all of them, fought for, laid down their life for at the end of the day. Jeremiah, I call it, they had a name for her because I think Yomi was the rescue mother. And then it said she was actually the rescue mother. The other debate was sparking along.
Yeah, the rescue mother, that was her name in CDC.
Yeah. So as it stands now.
Before that, I think the name they said originated from where she was doing her Kobo business in River G. They said where she used to help people. I think that was the area she and former President Weah came across each other, and she tried to also join the CDC, and she was brought to Monrovia because of her goodness. Even people that were close to Weah and other people, the same thing now, actually used to give. She used to give even to where she lives around VOA area there, around Brewerville end there. The people also gave her good news about her. The only thing now we want to know is how did she get access to this money and how those money was spent, because they are charging her for money laundering and theft of property. So we want to know what really constitute to money laundering and what is not, because she has to go into this investigation, and they will also give us another mindset about governance in our country, how people should handle public issue, financial issue especially, how people should deal with the revenue we have in the country, the natural resource, because people mostly refer to us as resource poor in country. It means that we have the resources, but we are still poor. Even now, around us, people going to bed with hunger, no food, no safe drinking water. Some of us even still drinking from well, hand pump, or around here. Do we have that kind of water to drink? And if so, how will people manage the resources that we are entrusted them with? So there's the issue. We are not saying nobody should help people, but Fina actually, she used to help people and her name used to really ring. That's why they gave her that name, Rescue Mother.
Now, with all what she did, she alone facing the consequences now because money laundering in terms of property, that's a very serious case. That's a very serious case. And as it stands now, she's in jail. Maybe she might get a newborn so that she can come out or until the final verdict is given. But other than that, Benin still remains behind the bar. And to me, they should serve as warning, not just to citizens, but to those involved in currently. Know fully well that whatever you do, there is a time that will come in your life that you will either face the reality. Because if you look at all of them, all the past regime, how many of them are investigated right now? Samuel Toa is in the heat, along with other quota officers from Ministry of Finance. Fina Bono is in the heat. You know, the fleas of properties, acquisitions that some of them acquire within a very shortest period of time, it was very much alarming. And I think, the issue of her characters, you know, people speak about her. Like the last time we saw people going, the prayer warrior going along with her to go and pray and this and that. All right, that's fine. Go and pray. Let's see the miracle that God will do. But equally so, we have to know that whatever you do, one day you will answer to your call. And one thing I applaud her today for was her willingness to turn herself in. Because everywhere, some people in the CDC, they will make issue out of it. They were going to say, I will not do it. It's a political, case, this and that. I will not do it. I will say to my house, let them come and arrest me so that it will become a major issue again. But she willingly said, I will go there. And if you ask me honestly, I will say the zeal in which she has for CDC, that zeal is dying down. Because from her explanation over the past week, what she said and what has been circulated, if you sit and listen to that keenly, it shows that CDC have let us down, and only different people who are not in CDC right now are the people that stood by her when things were not okay, even up to now. I was surprised to see Kimaya behind her when they were going to Monrovia Central Prison. But equally so, I applaud her for the level of courage she put in place. She exhibited today to turn herself in. We give her that courage, and we hope that fair justice will prevail, and let's get to the bottom of the case to know what really she did, whether she's guilty or not, then we will know. Yes, you wanted to say something, go ahead.
Yes, I saw Kimaya standing like statue right side of Bondo. I don't know why. Well,
maybe that George we are saying him there because I mean George we are.
I don't know why. Well, a great man of his caliber would just go and stay for a head behind him, under his face shining, God shining in his kosu. I was just looking at him, but why is it that Kimaya just saying like this? And like what you said, that if you monitor Fina now psychologically, her zest for CDC is dying. She said that she don't want to talk plenty. That's what she said. She had decided not to talk. That's what she said. It means that she got something to say. But for now, he doesn't want to say it. He said, I have decided not to talk, but in everything, I gave God the glory. I got that clear. She said, I have decided not to talk, but in everything, I gave God the glory. And when you hear somebody say that, it means there is deeper thing that this person is holding on. There is something that a person has planned to say, but at a particular time, they don't want to say it. And they are waiting for a certain time to explain it. So it will be a very interesting time in our country from now to 2029. Because if people like Finland could go to jail today, and now they are holding back from saying certain things, and they are waiting at the appropriate time to talk, then it should tell you that whatsoever man does, you shall be held accountable.
Yeah, and I
How's Finland
agree
doing the
with
same
that.
thing?
And I agree with that
Yeah,
because, well,
yeah.
before we go further, let's say this to one of our strong member, Alison. Now, based on that, I'm told he lost his mother over the weekend on the 19th,
Wow.
and then
Wow.
she was buried today in Liberia. I saw the video from KVP, and I don't know why he couldn't reach out right away to us so that we can send our voice down there. But equally so, we want to say our sincere condolences to the policy and his family, and that of the one-way people. And it's quite sad. I didn't know, honestly, because they said on the 19th, so definitely that was Saturday. Yeah, that was Saturday.
Yeah.
Sunday
Seriously,
straight.
yeah, yeah.
Go
Myself,
ahead.
I didn't know. Allison and I got to know each other in short time. For his behavior shows to me that he's a good friend. When I lost my father-in-law, I went Nimba. He was there with one of his friends, Otetia, and we all were together in Uaple that night. I appreciate him a lot for that, but I'm now aware of the death of his mother. So my deepest condolences to him, and I would love to call him after here. So he and my second talk. Okay, so as we were saying, you said certain thing that I want to emphasize. You said that what is happening now should be a warning to people that are in government. And when Wemope was on Spoon Talk, he said certain thing or similar thing you are saying. Wemo said that people who are in the government now criticize the past government. But now they are building houses all around here. He said he's aware that those people are getting rich overnight. So if they are saying that, it means they too have to be careful with how to manage the state resources. They too have to have a lesson that they were based on, because if you look at what is happening now, the people never expected it. They felt that they were having 12 years for Weah and 12 years for Jewel Howard Taylor. And that went the opposite. So wheresoever you are, whatsoever position you're in, you should know that you owe it to the Liberian people. You owe it to the less privileged people. You owe it to people that voted you, that stood in the sun and voted you. I'm not saying you shouldn't build house or houses. If I were in such position, like what I told people normally, I would do whatsoever they are doing. It means that I will also acquire property, but I will want to get it honestly from my earning, from what I will make. But it will not be out of something that it doesn't have to be mine. Myself, I want to live a decent life, but I have not gotten that opportunity yet. So I continue to tell people, when you are in public space, when you are in public space and you want to enrich yourself, it should be from what government is paying you. It should be your lawful income. and not unlawful income. So these are things that we are saying. And one guy we should learn from is that particular women pay that we're talking about. When Mana Ellen joined Selige, women pay a certain minister position at the time for director, he refused it. And he said he wanted minister proper position. And that was his stance. And I continue to tell people, when you know your value, people will not just buy you anyhow. If Franklin knows that he has expertise in certain things, let Franklin stand by that. Instead of him just jumping from one area to another area. I believe in loyalty. I believe in integrity. What you want to do, you hold on to it. So if even you were to call Raymond now and ask him which position will you want us to put you, I know women will always make reference to Ministry of Mines and Energy. Why? Because he has in mind to reform that place. If he wants to reform that place, once a goal has not been met, women will always put a resistance to going to other areas. So people need to learn from what is going on now and be able to serve the public accordingly.
Yes, people need to learn because politics, especially appointed positions or elected office, is a time bomb. You are there for a time. When the time comes and the people decide to retain you and re-elect you, fine. But if not, you leave. So for me, the mentality that I have is that I live for tomorrow. Let my legacy speak after me when I leave, so that they will say, oh, when this person was here, this is what happened. But if you are in an area and then you decide to say, oh, like quote unquote, we have a conversation in Niman at what time, that we're on a time. Our own time comes with consequences. Let's say, for example, when the issue of the audit report broke out in Nimba, right? There are young folks that names were mentioned into that. These are leaders. These are youthful populations, or youthful gentlemen that were trusted with a certain task to complete in Nimba, to occupy in Nimba, and then we had that kind of audit report. And then on top of the whole audit situation, the chief in charge of that went to glory. I think he's been buried for like 2 weeks now. Now, since the death of Kokoi the late, we have not heard anything about the audit report and this and that. But what I'm trying to drive out here is that we are seeing now CDC, Unity Party, and all stewards of Unity Party in government. And you sign this is an alarm to all of you. Whether the continuation of Unity Party exists beyond 2029 or a different batch of leaders comes on board, it should send a signal that people, this pattern in which they have begun will always continue. And if you are occupying a position and you have your hands in some crooked G and things, I would advise you stop, because definitely what has started now will not end. Even if you leave office, you leave office long enough, if the people come and decide to audit, the audit goes back for some time, and you fall in our category, man, your name will be brought to book, and don't be surprised to see that people will come after you, for you to give your side of the story. Now, you said something about sedition saying they will resist here and there. And I was saying earlier on before you joined the show, we will pause on District Number 4 legal luminaries to ask them this question. With this whole new saga surrounding Toy, we'll try to ask Councillor Yelu, because he's a partisan lawyer in Liberia. We also have Honorable Wally Tiwa Dona, He's also there from Zolgate. And other, and then the guy that always claim he's the only educated man from Tar River, we will ask him, we'll try to ask him, let him come in. And that legality, argues. Let's hear the side of the story, because if Supreme Court decide to, call you, I think there is no need of you resisting, because that is the highest court of the land. You go there and listen. But to say, I will not go anywhere, I will put on resistance, let's see. The kind of resistance you will put out, let's see how it goes. But to me, that is just a political thought. When we reach that other river, we will cross it. Seditions. At this point in time, if seditions have not learned lesson, if seditions cannot sit and think that, hey, what are we really putting out there? Because you have people who are hierarchies, dark-hearted seditions. You're talking about the issue of FINA. I am not talking. I don't want to say anything. Something is there that she does not want to say as a grieving person. She's definitely grieving. Two, she's grieving both ways. Grieving the loss of her father and grieving over this whole situation. So there is something that if I were a sedition, I would actually sit and think about my own life. From 2005, you've been singing this Amanda way to Manda way to all day. You wearing blue and red beret. They call you one of the psychometry, you go there, you stand there whole day. God blesses you, you came to power 2017. What did you benefit from all that struggle you went through? You guys were there, only very few were fortunate enough to work in the government. So if y'all would sit down again, for people who, used you guys to get a power and then became the hierarchies. Now they are the proletariat, they sat at the bourgeoisie. And then you guys were the proletarians down there, they gave you all the little ends, and then you take it, oh yeah, you're behind them. If you want to go and endanger yourself again, get on the street and look for the police, it's up to you. But to me, when we get to that other bridge, we will cross it. I think this case is another case that is, all eyes are now open. And maybe we will get to hear the sound of the jurors, right? Because since they have been ordered for their arrest, and some have been arrested already, we will get the sound of them. We will get to know what actually happened. Because if I am tasked to do something, and then in our whole thing there is no sincerity in what I did, and there is questions roaming around, it taints my character. And so people would definitely want to defend their character, and people that are sincere will say this is actually what happened. So we hope to see that one. Let's hear you, brother.
So we continue to say that the issue of Sametua and offender should serve as warning to our brothers and sisters that are in government now. And that jury tampering case is also a high-stake case in Liberia, because this will also leak a lot of things that happen at the temple of justice that we think that people get judgment or justice from. This is not the first time, and this will not be the last time in our country, I guess, because people will always go to court with cases, and you will think that government will win the case, or even a private citizen that carry their case to court will win, but you go look, the result can turn around. Then we only blame judge. And you know that we have two ways that people judge cases in our country. The ones that has to do with the jury system, and the ones that you maybe just file or put your trust in a judge and say you don't want a juror case. It means no juror will be in the case. Only straight the judge will hear everything and decide. And if that is the case and the judge come up with a ruling, then you can say that the judge is corrupt or the judge is that. But if you have juror or the jurors that make the decision and judge will only come up with a verdict, then and there is problem, you don't have to blame the judge. If the brother, honorable minister, is saying that he will not go to court, I hope he's advised well, because we have judgment by default. They will give you all of the procedures that are needed. So that is the due process. They will serve you citation, they will assign your case, and they will do everything. Once you don't go for hearing, and after certain time, you become guilty by default. And there where you will start hearing people say there's a political witch hunt, this, that. I think the minister needs to put up a strong defense. He got to now hire people, if even it will cause him to seek international lawyers, that he do that. And if they are able to practice law in Liberia, so they can defend him, because this will be a very strong case for him. I heard him last night crying on spoon, and that was bad for him, because in our system, people will just feel that once it favors you, then it is good. But if it doesn't go your way, it becomes an issue. He praised the system the other time, but now he's saying it's a kangaroo court. How does that change overnight? And he said now that the ruling today is backward to democracy. So how can we say that when you have praised the very system? And the jury own testimonies that I read today, if I'm not forgetting, from America, the people explained that there were phones, and people who were having phones were also assisting those who were not having phones to call. And by itself, to have cell phone, according to the proceeding and according to what we have followed, to even handle cell phone in the jury quarter is an offense. It means by itself, you have already been tampered with. Even though I did not see clearly that the people communicated to this, or okay, it was on ERBC page, LNTV. I read that story there. And even where the government counselor was accused of having an affair with the full lady of the juror, and they came out to say it was a lie. From the communication, from the people testimony, the guy has nothing to do with it. So this case, we hope to see how it will go in the next days, next weeks, and see how well Liberia will handle this, because it will bring a serious disturbance to the judicial system in our country. People will get to know now the loophole in the country, in the judicial system, and see how well we can solve that.
Yeah, so with what you said, right? You talk about bringing on some international lawyers. I thought Johnson is qualified to practice as an international lawyer, and also that of Serena's Cephas. I don't know where is he now. He's been quiet for some time now. Maybe Liberia is becoming very interesting. Serena Cephas is quiet. I've not heard him for a very long time. But that is the issue right there that we are having. He actually have some, people to speak on his behalf. If actually we go that route of all quote unquote international lawyers. But the reality here is that it is a very plastic case, excuse me, and we look and hope that the actuality, the truth surrounding this whole issue will come to book. Right? But you talk about a man crying. That man is crying, and the man said he banned, and the man said he when he was a minister, he helped now Vice President Dr. Jeremiah Kpankun over, I think, about 50 or 20,000, even during his campaign, he supported, but nothing he has gotten since VP took over. I think it's just been like 3,000 that he has gotten back from the VP. And the VP has even pressured judges to, rule against him and this and that, So the issue on Rotorua cry is a normal cry, man, but we are hoping for justice, for this case to actually proceed the way it should be. If it is, if there is no merit, we await the argument. If there is merit, we also await the argument. Let the lawyers, the state prosecutors, and the defender. Also, I'm talking about the lawyers that the defendant will bring on board. Let them come and then argue. Let's get this out of the story. That's what we want. So it's indeed a very serious case that Liberia is got to be serious about it. That brings us to one of the most important topic here tonight. And I think Liberia is actually on the microscope right now. And if at all Liberia is not careful, a lot of things going to play out in Liberia. And kudos to ORC Biago and his team, the Gregory Coleman and his team, and all security apparatus that work hands in hands to arrest this situation. Previously, we spoke about over $19 million worth of drugs that were seized at the airport. With this new consignment of over 600 million. And thankfully, those guys are not Liberians. Those guys are foreign nationals. With this one, it is safely to say that, in my own personal opinion, it is actually been manufactured in Liberia because it was not imported. It's been manufactured and then to ship out of the country. Those guys are foreigners, not even black, but white. And if you guys been listening to me, I said the cartels, the drugs cartels, it is well connected. It's a business that one operation can make you rich. Let me put it that way. One operation. You see, America have issue with Mexico. And just last week, I was watching a documentary of a major drug cartel that was operating on a ground tunnel. America has some stories about major, cartel leaders, major drugs leaders. I'm talking about El Chapo and you name it. Some have escaped prison and rearrested. And I was watching this documentary. Those guys are very, very clever. Very calculated, very clever. And just of recent time, I was on an operation, and I came across something and I realized that I'm dealing with a very far more smart gentleman. He has some contraband and mix it up with a liquid, with something that when you see it, you will say, this is not what it is. But I know the tricks, and I said, I don't care, no matter what you tell me, this will go to be tested. If it comes back negative, you're free. So those guys are actually very smart. I sometimes sit and watch those documentaries, and frankly, what I'm saying, that those guys were operating under the toner. They dug a hole, they created an underground, and then their operation was there. About millions upon millions of dollars were operating under the ground. But that toner came in and have a exit point in a warehouse. So if you see the building is just like a very big building, a normal warehouse, and I call it camel toe. The one we call camel toe is parked outside. We call it here bass truck. It's parked outside the place, and you see they just going a normal thing, but deep down something is going on there. So the drugs dealers, they are very much calculated and calculative, manipulative, that when you're dealing with them. And when I saw the house they were living in, the house as well, you know, I don't know whether they took that entire building from the owner to rent it or what, but that was a very farm house, but they were sitting right there operating. So look at that number of consignments that were seized by the joint security apparatus. It shows that if this, so we're talking about 600 million for this one, 19 point something million for the previous one, and that one, the case is still ongoing. Luckily, those two guys were apprehended, and like you said today, it's national jail time in Liberia, but the issue of drugs, it's a serious thing for us, Liberia, Liberians, and the work needs to be done. It is the collective effort of all citizens, not just one person, so that we will bring to book the perpetrators of who all involved into that. Who knows? Those guys might be linked to the previous 19 million naira worth of goods that were seized at the airport. Who knows? Maybe they knew that the warehouse they were using was, you know, has been dismantled, so they decided to operate from the home and then roll in a car and take it to the airport and get on plane and go. And that shows that we also need some advanced equipment at the airport to detect that. And I said here the last time that Liberia needs to invest into, you know, things like K9 and other major equipments that detect those things at the airport. The airport is getting busy day and night. People trooping in. Foreign nationals are coming in. What are they coming for? Do they have valid business? Are they what investment are they coming in the country to do? These are things now we should start thinking about. Franklin, let's hear you.
Okay, so as we continue to say, when I saw that job bust today, I felt that Liberia is heading somewhere positive because we have not heard this in recent years that this kind of consignment was arrested in Liberia or anywhere around here. For our joint security to knock those people down is a plus. And we were saying, no, so when something happened, people argue. Other people say that we are being in the news for the wrong reason. I said, yes, the news headlines will carry that Liberia is now a transit point. However, the seeing those people will correct it. But Liberia is fighting the drugs. That is the only thing that will give us hope. Because if you see our children, the people we live together, when you see some of them, you feel bad for having child or children. One day, God forbid, the children are going to join these people. And one approach that the government has taken that I appreciate is going after the importers and the distributors instead of the end user. The users are already victims of this act. And if you are going arresting them, putting them in jail, and letting these people go free, it becomes an issue. Because right after that, you will see it on the market again. And once you don't see that thing on the market, you will not have time for taking in those things. And people started to look for points on one another. Other people said the drug was found around my girl's house. Then, as though they're coming up to Navy government officials that live within that area. I think the fight against drug should not be political. It should be something that everybody will put hands together and fight this case.
Hold on one second. But if you say it should not be political, then why you leaving a Carlos statement that he said under the Unity Party-led government, Liberia has become the major distributor of drugs. But he's not thinking about his time, where those dealers were coming into the country, where Liberian passport, a diplomatic passport, landed in the hands of a Mexican. Mexican were considered diplomat for Liberia. He's not talking about that. He is now also talking about the drugs dealers that were arrested in jail, and then what happened, who got left. He's not talking about it. Go ahead.
Akaras then they are just doing like a replay. I want to say replay or after the show, the aftermath now is what Akaras really doing. Yeah, the CCC, United Party politics has that time. The kush business was in the country so much, and Liberia was listed on the global market as drugs transit point. And there were no concrete actions taken at the time to prove that Liberia is fighting drugs. So I'm just saying that let's take the political feelings from fighting this drug to national unity so that we can get a better result. Let's say tomorrow when your party is not in power and you have CDC or ANC or CMC or MPC or Simon Fremont, and this thing continues to
go on.
I'm just talking some, yes. So if these things are happening, what would they say? So it means that in your year it was better for drugs to be in a country and not this year. What are you trying to tell us, the Liberian people? So I'm sure that Ambassador Joseph Yuma Boaka, the current president of the Republic of Liberia, for watching that video today. And I pray my data only. There are a lot of issues that I don't follow, but when some take my heart, like the drug issue, I follow it to the very end. And this is also a test for the judiciary. How the court will handle this case will be how Liberian people will take the judiciary to be. If they play with this case, then the Liberian people will also say they have lost the trust in the court. If the court will handle this case to the extent possible that we will get people that are part of this cartel exposed and punished, it will be better. And you should know that the judge you are saying there will not carry in there by only 2 persons. We have other networks that assisted allegedly, maybe, probably, into that building. And we should know that the people who did this should be named and they should be arrested and investigated. All of them should be given due process, and after that, they should bear the full weight of the law. And the building that the drugs were found in, I think the drug law says any property that the drug is found, it becomes automatically the property of the government. If that is the case, the government should immediately take over that property after investigation. And the government should put mechanisms in place that there will be no reoccurrence of what went on today, of what going on in our country. Because we are doing this for the future of Liberia. The people that are president today, or senators, or representatives, if there were drugs way back to change their way of life, they won't have occupied that seat today. So they should hear the cry of the Liberians, parents, and be able to fight these drugs, and be able to know that the nation we are building lies in the hands of the youth. My brother, you see those people on stream, you are not here. But some of us will daily see these people on a daily basis. We see the people on a daily basis. You feel bad for them because you see that if even they don't have food, they will prefer buying drugs to take to looking for food. After doing that, then they will come beg for food. You imagine taking $500, $600, or $1,000, you use it on drugs. Then from there you come, you take with your pain, you can't beg somebody for food. How can that be possible? So drug is a serious national emergency we have, public health emergency, that our government continues to fight against. And we pray that this victory will be ours one day. We pray that one day Liberia will come up, will rise up again, and people will praise this nation for stance against drugs. And people should be able to train their children. Because if even you say you are a pastor, I have seen many houses that have pastors and their children are today out there into drugs.
Yeah.
Because one, you will teach them at home, but these children will go to school. These children will go play among friends. And somebody said, if it is not your child that is spoiling somebody, then your child is being spoiled by another person.
Yep.
So the influence is not from one side. Some people say, for me, I'm a good parent. I don't want my child to go to the other person. You don't know what your child has under the sleeve. So we all need to work hard and see that we get drugs out of this country. I saw the rehabilitation home of Dorothy on that graduation program, and he was praising those people that assisted and those people that were in there and graduated. I think we need to invest more into that and be able to reintegrate these people into society.
Reintegrate into society. And definitely your point. What all you're saying is true when it comes to the fight of drugs. And when you started earlier by saying you think it should not be on the basis of politics, definitely drugs does not know politics. All right, and your thought.
So drugs, we say like what you are saying, it doesn't know the boundary. So if we don't do that, you will see that even in our schools, drugs will be there. I can remember in 2004 when we were in high school, right after the war, there was certain thing that people used to take in the school at Kanha, in other schools around here, not only one school. They used to call it drip. They used to be in a piece or something.
Yes.
And when those guys took those in at a time and come to school, they would be very rigid. Some of them would just be sitting there laughing. Some of them would not even pay attention to the instructor. Some of them would just be sweating profusely. And Ellen joining Celine, when she took all that time, she did well. And then got rid of that something, that drip. They took all those things from school. That was a good sign of a good leadership. And if we can also work on it today and ban drugs for good, from entering into our schools, from entering into our churches and mosques, from entering our homes. And it should be a collective fight. Even parents should not sit there and only wait for people to be able to bring these people to book. You yourself, when you see your child involved into this, you should be able to get at that child and make sure that the child doesn't return to where he or she went that day for that drug or any other area. And you should be able to get that child enrolled somewhere that they cannot be able to take in it. I really feel for parents. So as I was saying about the reintegration into society, like the home of April Darrow Stallone, I think the government needs to work with that center and even establish centers. I think they were talking about area in Johnsonville or Bentor that they were trying to take the less privileged or the disadvantaged youth that we normally call Zogo from the street, carry them to Bentor or Johnsonville. We heard about that project, but I don't know the outcome of it now. If we can have people going to take care of these people and they place them somewhere that they will not be able to come out until they are reformed, I think it will be a very better thing for us. Instead of allowing them to be in the street, and their being in the street is also a threat to national security. I always said this, because you are being red light or Douala or any public area, these people will just check something from you, or they will just follow you and harm you. And all of these things are the result of drugs. And I continue to say that if government also wants to take these people from street, let government be involved into agricultural something, farming or productivity. If you have a government farm, for example, Kakata Highway, or you're establishing Bon County, Nimba, or Lofa, even Southeast, just make sure that you have a very large farm that can contain these people. Any Zogo you will arrest in red light. any area in Maserado or even any area in Liberia, send them straight on that farm. Let them go work. And they are working. You are not just allowing them to work without pay. You should pay them, but make sure they work and feel it. Let them work on that farm. You will see that government will also have benefit from that will come to citizens. If it is rice production or cassava with its valuation, maybe you are preparing gari, super gari, you have farine, you are producing all of these things from that place. You have these people there working. If it is a production of palm oil, anything that you will do there, you put it on the market. The citizen will buy. These very people will be there to do the labor. And the money, you are not giving it to them directly. You put the money into their account. And after you have worked with them, after you have rehabilitated them, you be able to take them back into society with what you have saved for them. And they will start their life from there. You put skills in them because if they are coming from the agricultural area, farming, I think by that time they know how to farm. And if they know how to farm, agriculture or food security issue in our country, I think it will be settled by that time. Then we will now have full supply on the market. Anybody you see that is also involved into this activity, take them on that farm so they can work. That will be another strategy for food security problem in our country, for tackling food insecurity. They will also help us to be able to have a good food system instead of allowing those guys in the street loading cars, taking people phones or taking people bags and then hampering people activities.
Yeah, so like the issue of the end users, which has to do with the disadvantaged youth that we have in Liberia. We'll get to that point. You made a very, excellent layout of what you think the government can do. But I don't see our government heading that direction right now. And the issue of the drugs, because with this level of consignment that were apprehended yesterday or today in Liberia, it shows that that was not brought into the country. Because if they were brought into the country, then either at the airport, it was going to be diagnosed, because one person cannot just travel with those amount of luggages into the country. But it is now the way I see it is that it has been manufactured right there. And it is the machine now that the factory now is where we need to locate. Because, and who knows, maybe the 19 million that were before, those guys are connected to that. Because if you follow that story from the onset, that was not all the consignment. Before that 19 million worth could be were busted at the airport, another consignment had left the country before on Brussels. It was the second one now that got busted. And now this one. So it shows that there is still, the manufacturer still exists in Liberia. If they're where we need to go after, it is not about CDC, Unity Party, CMC, Johnny Party, Mary Party, all of that, no. Because the people that are affected are Liberians, they are not politicians. So it should not be politicized. And with this right now, the reason seditionists are getting agitated is that during the regime of CDC, those things were rampant, but there were no measure taken against this kind of situation, it became more worse than taking action. Because there are people who were friends with, the importers. There are people who were collaborating with those dealers. Let me tell you, those guys, the cabals that handle those whole thing, they are very much dangerous. And you see, I saw a picture where a gun was displayed along with those guys. They arrested. Those guys are highly, highly connected. It's a network. When I say network, it's a very, very deep network of folks that when you're dealing with them, anything that try to stand on their way, they deal with it. So during this regime, they never have the courage and the spine to take action. But during this regime of Boakai, we see that action, is taking place. So I don't think when Akaro's Grace set up in his own little corner will be saying those things that during Boakai regime, Liberia has become the drug distributor. When you, Akaros, was in government, those things happen right under your arm. You will go on the street and pick those same Zogo, those same boys, and march on University of Liberia campus to cause chaos. Your thought processes never went to let's see how we can get this eradicated and have our government being pure. You never thought of that. All you think of is a militancy. And I don't blame you. I don't blame you. Because the fight of drugs is not politics. The fight of drugs is not politics. It is solely an individual collective effort. And let me continue to say kudos to the joint security. Because that was a major, major operation. Life would have been lost, but no casualty. Everything was seized, and those guys were apprehended. They are not just two. It's a connection. There where our focus should be. Who all involved? Because the previous ones, we've had some people behind bars. Well, it's not all. I know Paul King is there with another guy. And now we have two foreign nationals in our custody. Now it is time that we need to work to know who all involved into this. It's not just they alone. There are some people in Liberia that will be part of this. And who were the transporters. All right. So it is a network that to get them, it will be a work that even people got to be on reconnaissance and all of that. Detectives got to be on the standby. And those detectives got to be a neutral person, very neutral, that people don't know they're part of any security agency. That's the only way we'll be able to get to the bottom of this. But it is not politics, because it is our brothers and sisters who have brighter future that got coerced to partake into this kind of substance. And here are they now, they are stuck into it. They're not coming out of it. When our government names, like, let me tell you, Liberia during the regime of former President George Weah, Liberia nearly got sanctioned because they realized that Liberia passport was not even valued any longer, because foreigners have Liberian passport all over across the world. Nigerians traveling on Liberian passport. Do Liberians have a Nigerian name? No, our name is different. Our names are different. But our passport landed in the hands of Nigerians, Mexicans, and other foreign nationals, because they will leave from their home country, especially Nigeria, come to Liberia, get birth certificate, go get passport, and exit out of Liberia with those passports. Nigerians are in some Western country with Liberian passport. It was under Akara's great regime. But he didn't have the spine to sit on Facebook and post any other thing. Everything when they were just there, putting those people cheering behind them, giving them $5 to go to buy them gin, they get high enough and be sinking behind them to cause trouble. The fight of drugs is not politics. It is collective effort. It is all Liberians. All Liberians. Do not sell your future for a 1 penny, because that money they will give you to close your mouth is just temporary. But then when that deal is done, you will live with the consequences forever. It is not their country. They are only doing business. Those guys are millionaires. They make the quiet money. So let us not take it as politics. Whether CDC, whether Unity Party, whether CMC, whether whoever party, this is a serious national crisis that we all need to come together and get it fight out of Liberia. Liberia is small. If we work together, we can eradicate that drugs out of Liberia. We're still struggling to get developed, to get investor coming into the country. We cannot be the one be there every day. You go on and do Liberia drugs. Folks, it has negative implications. It sells the image of Liberia back to the outside world. Though the image is that all Liberia is not a transit point, because the joint security are busting those drugs. And like I was saying earlier, our airport, the airport management authority needs to put it in your budget in the next budget time. Put it in there. Let's have some trainings. Come and get some little K9 doors and have it trained and have them at the airport. Get some equipment that will detect any substance, any narcotic substance or any other drugs for that matter. Get them to those very airports. Have some trained staff to operate. People that will not be compromised easily. People that have integrity. Because we need, if our airport is not strengthened, let me tell you, the exit point of those drugs the entry and exit point of those drugs we're talking about are our borderlines and airport. We're still lagging behind on our borderlines. We're still lagging behind on our airport. So to get us to where we need to be, we actually need to put our act together. And NRA bosses, Rivers International Airport, you need to put it into your budget and have some kids. So what a K9 does is that when you get out of the plane, you come in, right? Even though luggages that can go through the conveyors, you have the door standing by to sniff every single luggage. And there are 3 for 9. If anything is out of the contrary, that door will pick it up. Even if let's say I am walking and I have some contraband on me, the door will smell it and pick me up. Let's have those door trained. Any major cargoes that come into the country will go there. That the door sniff, then you'll see what will happen. But we cannot just be there and be riding 150,000 other cars, and what we need to do, our borders, our airport is not secure. And to the point my brother raised earlier about, getting those guys on the street. We don't have a mental institution in Liberia. And I think another thing too that people have when they hear the word mental, they think that the person is crazy. No. And I always say that the same way you can wake up and go to clinic when you have diarrhea, when you have headache, it's the same way people go to hospital, to the mental facility to get treatment. People can be sober. So I think it is time that the government invests into mental health institution. You get us people, you get us folks, get them there, get them sober and refine, and then put them in society. Even if you can't bring them, have a government open a farm. When they are sober enough, you send them there to go work and make daily bread. We got a lot of forests around there. You got forests in Lofa, you got forests in Nima, everywhere. Sino, Grand Jide. We make farm. And I know former President Charles Taylor used to have farm in Banga, right? Taylor farm. People used to go there. You know, workers used to be there making their ends meet. Why can't we do that? We take those people from the street,
Yes,
get them treatment for some time, and send them to those farms and go work while they make their own living. They will change their thought processes will change. You work there for some time, you make your own money, you are sober, you can leave and go establish business on your own and find something to do. Because when you are out of it for a length of time, I don't think your mind will want to go to it anymore. Why can't we do that? Major, we have hospitals everywhere, every community you pass in Liberia, you'll find clinic, you'll find this one, but we don't have mental health institution. And I know this lady, Jojo, she started something, but I start seeing, maybe I'm not following all these days, but I start seeing her interaction with those folks and you name it. And likewise, that was alone. The work of getting the disadvantaged youth, the end user of these drugs from the street, if we get them off the street and send them to a mental facility where they will get checked, get on treatment, and make sure we have those treatment available for them to, detox themselves and become a normal human being. We send them on those funds to go work and make ends meet for us. And somebody is dead. At the end of the month, get something in their hands or maybe something in their account. You think the person will want to leave and go back? No. If the person is doing something, you think they will want to leave and go back and be sleeping in graveyard, looking filthy up? And mind you, some of those folks are very educated. They articulate very well, more than you and I. Some of them articulate very well. But life was not fair to them, and they fell for the pressure, and now they found themselves in those situations. I think there's a huge burden on the government that they need to do something. Do it regionally. Do it regionally. They can transport people there. If this facility is getting full, you grab another one, you transport them to another facility. Whether you have another center in Nima, another center in Bong, Grand Jide, other places, most rather you have them when they are getting sober enough, you take them to the farm and go work and make living. We can do that and change the thought processes of those people. If you interview someone else, they will say, I want to change. If I can find something or somebody to help me, I will change. That is their major goal. But the fight of drugs is not one person effort. It is all of us collective effort. It is not politics. It is not John Brown. It is not Mary Brown. But all Liberians' collective effort to make sure that that issue, it has been, we take it seriously. It's actually a crisis that we need to work to get it out. Let's hear you, Franklin. Franklin, are you there?
Yeah. All right. Okay. So we continue to say this as you were talking about Taylor Farm in Banga. Yes, that farm was there, and also he was using it as a training base. I think that was another strategy he used because you have soldiers like the way we have our army today. You were having government farm and you have the camp near a training base, and these people that's why we get the agricultural battalion company there, and they will also work. So if we have this, because my knowledge or my logic here is for us to really get rid of people who are harming people in society. And these people not go there by choice, they went there by influence, and they went there once at a time. If we fight these drugs with our all, it is going to help us as nation. Let people forgo everything. Let all of us, if even you want to contribute as private citizen, you can be involved with NGO activity, establish your own organization, and see how you can bring those people, train them, and support them in society, so that all of us can let's do the thing collectively and see how best the result will be. Instead of setting and say you are waiting for 2029. Before 2029 come, these people you will go to them, some of them will be spoiled already because some of them can say they will the people will vote for election. Will you wait for someone who is already almost in that kind of condition to go vote for you while your children sit abroad and enjoy the income or the wealth of the country? No. This is time we all work together. This is time we all support the agenda of the country. This is time that Liberia will really stand on her own and seek the welfare of the citizen instead of political agenda, instead of doing something to score political points. And as I was saying today about the joint security, other people continue to say we are not seeing the LDA. I think people are not really getting to know the difference between the police and the LDA because the LDA, the people on the operation team, what somebody told me is they also wear the same black with that chest cover, and when you see them, you feel that they are police. So those people are working hard, and I like the approach. They will use glove, and they were transferring those things from the house to the truck. That case will be able to determine whether they were to do fingerprint tomorrow, the police will be vindicated, will be safe because they are using gloves and their handprint will not, fingerprint will not leave on those materials. The communities that the people are in, they also need to answer questions, especially the close door neighbors. If they see unusual activity going on and they didn't alert the security or they didn't let people know what was going on in this building, then they became a serious problem. And as we say again, maybe they were afraid because they
All right, go ahead.
yeah. So the drugs people they are good at killing or carrying on damages. It's possible that other people too were afraid and they undercover. So in all, fighting drugs is not one person business. Let all of us work together. You might be minister today, but you don't know where your child or your children will go. If you feel that maybe you are on top of things and you forgo the other people down there, the possible God forbid your child will fall in it. I listened to a guy that Reverend Zayo helped to come back to normality, to normal life. The guy said for him to get addicted to drugs, people say that peer pressure, but his own was not peer pressure. His own, he reached a certain age in life when his father and his mother divorced. It was the time he got into drugs because he felt that the family was now collapsed. There was nobody to care for him. His father one side and his mother one side. And the both family, the parents, used to live together happily and they used to take care of him. But when divorce came between them, it was the time he jumped into drugs thing. But it was not peer pressure. And he went to the best schools in Liberia, according to him. He was in JJ Rowers. He was attending well. But when he reached, I think, around age 17 or 18, when parents divorced, it was a time the frustration carried him. So people getting addicted to drugs is from different reasons, not just peer pressure. Other people feel that they're where they will find satisfaction. Other people frustrated. A lot of things going on with people and they decide to go to drugs. And if they turn to drugs, and by the time they go look, drugs have overcome them already. So we need to also have people that will carry on counseling. But our people that are somehow downhearted will be able to be counseled and they cannot take away that will take them to another area in life.
Yet, and like you rightfully said, the issue of drugs. People have various reasons of getting into that habit. It is not all is not peer pressure, depressions, frustration, like you said, he got frustrated when parents got divorced, and you name it. All of that plays a lot on the minds of other people if you are not strong enough to stand the tension. And of course, some of it, most of the time, peer pressure too is involved into that, because if you are moving with certain people who are in the habit, and so right now at my place of work, I have a father and a son who are in the same prison, in the same room. Father came first and son followed. And the day his son came, he was happy. Oh, my son is here. So one time he came to my office and then he said, oh, my son is here. And I looked at him for a long and said, your son? Said yes. And then I said, let me be real with you, bro. How proud are you as a father? You're here and your son is coming along. And you're boasting that, oh, my son is here. He said, what do you mean? I said, do you think that this is what you brought him under the sun for? What life are you giving him? So at first, his facial expression changed, but when he stood and thought and have some thinking, and then he said, you have a point. So the point I'm trying to raise here is that people get influence. People get into it based on some other issues and personal issues, and you name it. It makes people to make a decision that has some negative impact on their life. So the whole issue in Liberia, if government, if it cannot be to all areas, but you have some regional centers across Liberia, it will help. Regional centers where your population, you say, okay, the other people here, you got region here, you can bring them here for treatment. It will help. And then we have place to put them for some time before they come back in society. Because if somebody go and gets treatment and is sober, and from that they say, okay, go to the other farm and go work there. You work there for some time. As new group coming in, excuse me, you are work, you have saved some money, then you can leave to give space to other people. You know, they will be happy about it because they're living already with something that they come in. Some of them will come and establish. Some of them, their parents still want them in. Once they are sober, they can go back home. But for Liberia, the fight, our country is little. It's not compared to where I sit. Because to get it out of here, it's a war. Because they have common boundary with the major producers. We're talking about, let's say, for example, Guinea and Liberia, Ivory Coast and Liberia. When we go to our home area, we got common boundary. When you cross from Sagittarius, you're in Ivory Coast. When you cross from Loguatu, you're in Ivory Coast. When you cross from Biole, you're in Ivory Coast. That's the similar situation America faces. When you cross St. John, where are you? Guinea. When you cross Bow Waterside, where are you? Sierra Leone. That's the same situation America faces. But for you and I, our country is little. We can still make it happen. We can still work it out. So let's, do a collective effort of everything when it comes to the issue of drugs. And kudos to the joint security. Listen, I think if you look at them at the back of their something, you will see LDA, or they always have bars on them. The Liberia seal is always on them. So even if somebody is not carrying their uniform because they have on vests, I think the shirt they have has the LDA at the back, but then they have the ballistic vests on them. So it won't show the uniform at the black at the back. It's only show the black and the vest they have on, but then some do have the badge that hangs on their neck. So LTA and the police, they are actually working hands in hands. Remember, the officer in charge is a police officer, which is Biago. So they are working. LTA is working along with, when they see it, they don't do the arrest. Police gotta come and do the arrest. That's the issue about it. They do the investigation, arrest. Police got to get involved into the arrest because they are clothed with the authority to do arrest. Well, that is it from our end here tonight, Franklin. Let's hear your parting comments, and then we'll call it a day from here.
Okay, so I think the topic is very much interesting. Let's stand together as a nation. Let's protect the future. Let's forgo politics. And let's see Liberia. Thank you for the time tonight. Hope to see you another time.
Yeah, and I would say thank you too for always coming along. What all we said here tonight is a wake-up call to all Liberians, because the issue of drugs, since the history of Liberia, this is one of the largest, in fact, the biggest drug bust ever in Liberia history. I don't think Liberia have, the second one was the $19 million. But we're talking about 600 million. 600 million. So the fight is all of us fight. It is not one person. And let all Liberians put on the care of fighting this pandemic. It's a pandemic. It's a public health emergency. Listen, even the cigarette that people smoke, if you are somebody with lungs problem, what we call secondhand smoking, if you inhale that and you got a lung problem, you get you smoke it right there. But all of those things, it requires all of us education about what we can do. And I think the issue of people smoking too in public all around, we should have a designated place for people to go and smoke. When you're done smoking, you drop your bead there. But Liberia is still trying to make it, trying to regain her strength. Let us not do it to slide right back to the old days. Because where we are right now is where we are to build. And thank you to the security apparatus in Liberia, joint security, their effort that I think the fight should be genuine. The fight should be genuine. It should not just be, one day you do good, the other day you do bad. And let's also try to flush out the bad apple among ourselves. Because mind you, we still have some negative influence within those forces that are only there for their own daily bread, where they will hustle from. So I think it's important that we, join hands to fight this pandemic. So thank you to all of you that follow us tonight and those of you that will come across this video. Like I said, you are not seeing us on a daily basis. It's because we are looking for a co-host to be able to host this show every single day. My schedule is busy at work. And the day I am available is the time I run the show. But we want to be an everyday thing. We're not getting people. Citizen of Trial River that is very much serious about this, we need you on board. If you live in any other countries that you think you have good internet system and you can run the show, you are welcome on board. We work together. It is the Trial River Citizen platform. You're not seeing no politician here. Citizen movement. Not most of the citizen movement. But let's join hands to move this platform forward. Let's join hands to lift our district. From the time Trial River existence, since we became district, we have not had a single radio station. Other stations relayed our messages. If we are okay with that, fine. But some of us thought it was that at this time it is safe that we can come out with these ideas and try to build radio station in our home that people, our citizens, will listen to too and say, yes, Trial River got her own product. That's the fight we have. It is not about politics. It's not about getting, somebody's spot. My hand ain't into your Liberian politics. I always say that. So you don't think that I want to become politician and why the station was, the platform was open. No. We are the watchdog for the people. When we see it, we talk it. You like it, Jaco. You not like it, Jaco Lanta. So on this note, I want to say thank you to all of you and our sincere condolences to our friend and brother Allison, who is also in the back as a member of this platform. I want to say thank you to all of them, all our followers, and we also extend our thought and prayer goes to him and his family in this time of bereavement, and who all lost the loved one. I want to say our sincere condolences to them as well. God's willing, Friday we will be here. Friday we'll be here. Saturday we have a live show, the Liberian July 26th celebration kicks off in Indiana, where we'll have CDC Wanto will be here as guest for the indoor program. And I'm told Minister of Youth and Sport, a proud daughter of Nima, Colinius Wakalepura, will also be here on the occasion. So it will be a jam-packed weekend for us Liberians in the state of Indiana. Our July 26th celebration indoor program starts on the 25th. On Saturday, we will be in hosting that event. And then Sunday, we climax it. So we will bring you live those events. So stay tuned to us on Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We will have a very good discussion all through. Thank you all for your time here tonight, guys. We're going to see you on Friday. Bye-bye from my end.